Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Always beware, or at least I am. I'm always aware and cautious anytime any of these legacy system leaders of the financial system, which doesn't mean much in my humble opinion whatsoever. If you look at the dilapidated state that their system is in, that doesn't bring a great deal of respect when one says they're at the forefront of such. In my humble opinion, just my humble opinion, I mean no disrespect. Or do I? But anytime they come forward to present something with great alacrity, be cautious. So what am I speaking about? Look at this. The Treasury, and it blew my mind that this individual would come out. Let me read this to you. There's been a lot of lying and deception going on lately, folks. You think not? Let me just give you a little hint as to why maybe these things are going on, besides the obvious. The Treasury Secretary held up stablecoin demand as a key reason for the continued issuance of a higher proportion of T-bills, U.S. Treasuries. So the actual article title, if you want to look it up, is says tenfold growth in stablecoins will lift demand for Treasuries. Really? And he's just extremely happy about all of this. The U.S. Treasury expects, I don't know, all of a sudden they all love stablecoins. That's interesting. Considering European central banks says stablecoins aren't stable. Bank of England says, hey, listen, don't use stablecoins. We prefer you to use financial institutions, use tokenized deposits. And then the BIS says, hey, for years, they say, well, hey, listen, we've been saying for years, stablecoins aren't stable. Even the Fed is saying, hey, stablecoins. But no, just all of a sudden, oh, yeah, stablecoins. You don't find that suspicious? Let's just wait. Hold on. The U.S. Treasury Secretary expects the stablecoin market to drive $3 trillion in demand for U.S. dollars and treasuries by the end of the decade. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Wednesday. Okay, wait a minute. So let's just take that there. We're going to really, really stretch our intellect today. All right. $3 trillion, which means stablecoins are going to be deeply ingrained in the system. That's what they're trying to say, right? Okay, I don't see that. First, let me connect this to bank coins. Let's just be clear that bank coins will provide the bridge currency aspect that they all need, liquidity that they all need, especially given the system is drying up when it comes to liquidity, cash, whatever, however you want to phrase that. There's massive problems that there's so much so that now even other researchers are speaking about it, not just myself. But I think we've exposed that pretty clear, even though there's a little bit deeper to go. Did you see what's going on? But putting that to the side, stable coins, we'll see what they do with yield, because I know some people say, well, they might not allow yield, or I don't know what's the update on that. But any type of yield connected to the companies that provide stable coins is going to compete with Treasury. So what is he talking about? Wait. You're saying, oh, Mick, what do you mean by that? Firstly, let's just establish that stable coins will compete with and take away possible deposits from banks, which also then lowers the amount of liquidity that the banks have in an era right now, currently, where already the banks have pulled liquidity from the Fed. They pulled reserves from the Fed. The Fed is running low, folks. If you didn't know, they're having massive problems. Shh, they're keeping it quiet. That's why every thumbnail you see, shh, that's right. That's exactly what they're doing. They're painting this beautiful picture for everybody, keeping everybody's head in the clouds. Meanwhile, there's a problem that they're trying to profit off of. Don't worry, we'll get to that in a moment. So stablecoins compete directly with deposits, right? Taking deposits away from the bank. I mean, not compete with deposits, compete with the banks over deposit capital. So it can take in that way, but also when it comes to yield, and I don't once more, even if people say, well, maybe they're doing all this Genius Act stuff, Mick, and maybe there's no yield on stablecoin. Okay, well, those same companies that are selling them the product of a stablecoin offer staking on their native cryptos. So those companies are utilizing stablecoins to do business that extends to other business later. It's always that way. Now you order some salt from someone. Later on, you order some more complex asset as you build trust, in your chemical corporation, as an example. That's how it always expands. The relationships expand. So now they utilize stablecoin. Later on, they utilize, not later on, because they're getting deep with bank coins already. They already talked about going wild with staking. Staking competes. You stake XRP, you stake Solana. All right. That competes with bank deposits. That competes with the Fed. Oh, how's it competing with the Fed? Once more, I iterate to you. Already, banks have pulled reserves from the Fed, liquidity, cash, whatever, from the Fed in order to place elsewhere. Why did they say they were doing that? Because of higher yield. Wait a minute. If they pulled from liquidity out of the system for higher yield, that has nothing to do with DLT. And yet DLT, staking, offers much higher yield than legacy system offerings that provide yield. You could just look that up. Everybody knows that. What do you think's going to happen once they go wild with staking or delegation? So that leads us where? That leads us to the system. So them allowing this whole, $3 trillion in stable coins to get deep. I see they're seeding. That's me seeding something, or you're spreading it around, right? I don't see that as any different as when you see, like, have you ever seen miners when they put dynamite or they put some sort of, material in different holes, and then they set it off, ignite it, and boom, 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 to demolish something, to bring it down? That's what this looks like, in my humble opinion. There's no reason that you're approaching with great alacrity, and you're taking this whole eleemosynary position. I'm so generous. I'm helping everybody. This is just a charitable thing. I want to help everybody out. Be careful of people like that. I mean, there's some real people like that out there, but be careful of these ones here. Their whole life revolves around power and money. But anyway, so they're using that, painting this beautiful picture, seeding stable coins, the Trojan horse, throughout the system that we all know and the central bankers know could cause a run on treasuries at any time. Oh, run on treasuries? What do you mean by that, Mick? I've never heard of that before. That's why I'm here. Look, everything I say, look it all up so you have it for yourself, see it for yourself. It's nothing better than knowing for yourself. You don't need to listen to them or me as far as just take what we're saying and just run with. No, I don't want people to do that. I want people to see for themselves. Power is in the mind. The mind needs to accrue intellect, and then the intellect will grow into wisdom, right? So, run on treasuries. So, the bank coin companies, in order to have stablecoins, provide stablecoins, must back the stablecoins with treasuries. That's how they're trying to paint the picture. They have this broad brush, and they're trying to paint this picture of, it's going to lift treasuries because they have to collect treasuries in order to back the stable. And yet, ECB, BIS, IMF have let it be known, and I think with just any logical person knows that you can cause a bank run with a stablecoin at the press of a button. It exacerbates the problem of a bank run in a system globally, not just the U.S., but the U.S. has severe bank problems. But globally, at the press of a button, you can have a bank run. Anybody can remove their capital like that. So it exacerbates that problem. Okay, all right. If that were to happen, if there's a bank run on a stable coin, then there would have to logically be treasuries sold at a rapid rate. How does that affect anything positively? That doesn't make... You see where I'm going with this? So you have the fact of stable coins themselves, if they're allowed to provide yield, which at first they probably will say no, but later on they'll probably say yes once they dominate that particular market, take it over. And when I say dominate, I mean control it absolutely. That's what they want. They don't allow anyone else to play till they control it absolutely. But when they don't control it, it's bad. Just like overall crypto, the mainstream cryptos, Bitcoin, etc. First they were bad, Bitcoin bad. Once they got in position, Bitcoin good. Everybody buy some, Bitcoin good. I'm oversimplifying it to convey a point, but that's the way that it works. We've seen this rinse and repeat multiples of times. Okay, so I had something here. Bear with me one moment. I want to bring greater clarity here, let me just read this here to you from the experts, okay? It says here, if funds are pulled from bank deposits, this is a shift in demand negative for longer term treasuries. If funds are pulled from bank deposits or money market funds, which hold a mix of short and long-term assets and are instead invested purely in short-term T-bills by stablecoin issuers, it could cause demand to shift away from longer-term treasuries, potentially putting upward pressure on their yields, meaning their prices fall. All right, that I really don't care about, but still, it's an integral piece of all of this, this setup that they're doing, this rigging that they're doing. Liquidity risk. Risk for all treasuries. The most significant concern is the potential for a, quote, run on a stablecoin, which we've already seen before. We've already seen that, but we've lived through it. But let's continue. A, quote, run on a stablecoin. If a major stablecoin issuer faces mass redemptions, it would be forced to sell a massive volume of treasury reserves very quickly to meet those redemption demands. This sudden, large-scale selling pressure could cause a sharp, rapid drop in treasury prices, a spike in yields, and potentially disrupt the stability. You see how this all leads to the same thing? There's so many things they're doing that lead to instability. Why? I'm asking you. There's nobody else around, just me and you, right? I mean, you did just come alone, right? Somebody out there is like, no, Mick, I have like five people. I'm at the office right now. We're just listening to you on the podcast. I respect it. All right. Now you're getting down with the podcast. All right. Yes. For those of you who don't know, this video is also available on YouTube Music as a podcast. You can listen to it and turn your screen off and you can just listen to me speak. I wonder if people know that. I don't know what people know. Anyway. So a rapid drop in treasury prices. Why are they setting all of this up? You think this is coincidence? This looks like controlled demolition. They're setting up the instruments that they need to bring down the particular building. The building obviously is metaphorical for a symbolic representation of the legacy financial system. They don't need it anymore. They got the new financial system. They want to bring it down, profit on the downfall of it. Let's keep going. Okay, so and potentially disrupt the stability and liquidity of the broader treasury market, particularly for T-bills they hold. Why would you explain this to me, people? Why is he speaking with such great alacrity? Yes, and I'm using that word. That's that's my word of the day. All right, but great excitement about this if it puts T-bills at risk. So stablecoins put banks at risk, and stablecoins also put T-bills at risk, but they're talking about this with excitement. Can you explain to me why? Also, why would you present this in such a way to the people that's very deceptive? Why not present both sides and let people make up their own minds about it? You're a U.S. Treasury Secretary, so why paint such a picture? You're supposed to represent the people, or you work for the people. So why not just lay out the facts for the people, let them decide for themselves how they feel about it, and accept the reality of, okay, this is a 50-50 thing, maybe not even 50-50, but this is what can happen positively, and we're hoping for that. And this is what can happen negatively. We're trying our best to mitigate those particular negatives, minimize them. Why not just say that? But they don't. They're not saying that. That's what makes it very, very suspicious. They're doing a lot of activities that are negative for the banking system while simultaneously only painting a positive picture. Why? Please tell me why. So let's see. So it says stable coins create a clear risk. Right. Same thing we heard from the ECB, same thing we heard from the IMF, BIS, and certain entities are parties within the Fed. Because we know the Fed is not, all the parts of the Fed are not in agreement. It says here, so a clear risk of drawing deposits from banks. I already spoke about that. We touched on that early, right? And significantly increase the demand for short-term U.S. Treasury bills. Listen, folks, I just want to say that. I want to get this out of my mind. It's a thorn in my mind. They're collecting massive amounts of XRP treasuries, Bitcoin treasuries, Solana treasuries. They talked about Chainlink. Notice how the key ones, the ones up front, those are the ones they've been buying secretly and creating treasuries for, which they also manipulate the price because they want other companies to create treasuries. This is part of the game. ETF treasuries. This is a big war between the businesses. They want the larger businesses have become arrogant and they believe that they can take a massive amount of value from the lesser entities, small and medium-sized businesses. They want that in every possible way. And that's before all of them begin to utilize DLT technology with full automation to do better for themselves in the future. Before they can do that and become more independent and can do business globally and maybe be a little bit more perspicacious in their activities, because now they have access to AI. AI, if they're using particular AI agents, which will advance, will tell them, hey, wait a minute, you're about to be played. This is rigged. AI might say that. So before all those small and medium-sized businesses really get on board, because a lot of them are not. They're not. This is why you don't see them advertising in the way that they should. There's a much more advanced way to be advertising your business, et cetera, doing business, conducting it right now, that a lot of them are not using. Tells me that they're definitely not utilizing AI to the max capabilities, using making commercials, making content, having it make blog posts for your business. So this tells me that they're not, mass of them are not involved, but we can look at the numbers if you really wanted to. So before they get to that point, where maybe the larger entities, the large banks and the large businesses, asset managers could take advantage of them, they're trying to get this done now. So they profit off of the creating of liquidity pools of XRP, having a bridge currency, having stable coins, etc., pushing this downfall of the system where they know that more and more are going to have to get involved, that they want to insulate themselves from the lack of liquidity of the legacy system via the liquidity of the DLT banking system. It will all be interwoven. You see it happening already. They're all coming together. Legacy system ones that have these weak systems that are siloed. I don't even know what they're talking about. Oh, JPM coin. And so what about a JPM coin? Is that global? Do they have global reach truly? Are they a Western based entity, which is going to side with the West against the East if anything pops off or happens, which has already occurred? Who's going to trust them? Why do they have these alternative systems to those? And as well as Swift, you have to look at everything in its entirety. And you see that the key, the golden key, the connector piece to everything to move all of this different value are the bank coins like XRP, Hedera, HBAR, Chainlink, Solana, XLM, Algorand, etc. There's only a few of them, right? It's up to you to do your own research, not financial advice, just my humble opinion based on my research, okay? And that's why they're doing that. This is why Brad Garlinghouse was on Wall Street, 1. This is why BlackRock was on Wall Street a week before he was, 2. This is why BlackRock was at their meeting, their event, 3. That's why you get all these articles coming out now. Oh, did Ripple outsmart Wall Street? Wall Street? How dare you? You want to be real, for lack of a better word. They outsmarted the entirety of the system, which was not difficult because the legacy system never had the most brilliant minds. The legacy system are not the ones that are coming up with all the newest technology or on any level. They're not the ones who have come up with the newest in AI, chips, GPUs, LPUs, quantum advancements like quantum or theories like quantum panpsychism. They haven't done anything. No philosophy. When's the last time the legacy system actually produced something? They may buy into something, but they didn't originate it, right? They don't. They didn't. They're not. They don't exactly have the highest. No disrespect. I don't mean any disrespect whatsoever. I'm just calling it how I see it. And they've never had the highest IQs. They haven't. Those of us who've been in intellectual circles for a long time, that always comes up. Oh, we did this in school. We did this on tests. We have this IQ. We have all these accomplishments that we can list, and we kind of gauge each other like, okay, that one's good at this, good at that, and we come together. We make stuff happen. I'm just telling you, you don't have to believe me. It doesn't really matter. But I'm sharing with you truth. So they're looking to take advantage of that. They're not in the driver's seat. So no, Ripple didn't outsmart Wall Street. They outsmarted them all. This is a setup. Now, what they're not understanding, and maybe I'll put it twofold. There is the possibility of them not understanding what is actually going on, the setup, where they feel that they're setting up their fellow legacy system actors to profit off of them, which they are. They are doing that. not realizing that they're actually involved in the setup as well. They've been set up by Ripple, Hedera, etc. And many brilliant people are taking advantage of the nescience of the legacy system actors. That is also possible. That's definitely possible, right? I was going to make it twofold, but I'll just let that one stand on its own. Why are they doing this? Let me read this a little tidbit here. It says, stablecoins create a clear risk of drawing deposits from banks and significantly increase the demand for short-term U.S. treasuries. The potential negative effect on the treasury market is less about decrease in total demand and more about the risk of market disruption from a, quote, fire sale of reserves. Right. And there's already a reserve problem. As well as a potential long-term shift in demand away from long-term treasury. That's damage. That's damage. Look all of this up for yourself once more. Okay. So we have that. There's a lot, right? There's a lot going on. Holy smokes. Hey, listen, don't get in your enemy's way when they're making a mistake. Let them talk. Let them talk. They're going to say something, and you being perspicacious, wise, you're going to say, wait a minute. No, that's not entirely accurate. You're telling a piece, a quarter of the story, a half of the story. There's another side to it that's actually highly significant. See, but that's the only way. If they did not speak, we would not know. Let them speak. They want to be seen by the world. They want to be seen. Look at me. I'm on TV, guys. I'm not just, taking all this value from everybody and have enriched myself off the hard work of others. But I'm on TV is what they want to speak. Let them be on TV. Let them talk. Let them speak. And they're going to tell every single time. The wise will analyze these words, and we will discover the truth every single time. It doesn't matter if it's me or someone else, or it's in the past or in the future. There will always be a researcher who will uncover the truth and present it to the people. Other than that, it's up to the people what they do with the research. It's up to them. You can't control what the people think. That's not going to happen. It's just not the way that it is. And it's for those who see. If they see, they see. If they don't, they don't. That makes sense? All right. So now let's go here. I have so many articles up here and I've just gotten through one, but that was so potent, was it not? Also, if you like this type of content, take those powerful hands of yours, hit that like button. Hit that like button. All right. Keep me fired up. Well, I'm going to continue to do the best job that I possibly can. That's how I was raised. I'm going to give you the absolute best. It's just the way that it is. But I would also appreciate that little like, click that little like. I just enjoy that. I'm like, oh, okay. They understand that like button. I see it. It just conveys something to me. I see. They understand. Okay. They appreciate it. All right. I got you. Don't worry about it. Next time I got something even better. You can't believe the stuff that I have. Just wait until I drop that next members only video. I'm working on it. Don't worry about it. Did you see the documents? Those documents look at so it's not just the videos in the members only section. Make sure you're seeing the documents I'm posting. Did you see the one yesterday? They all lead down a certain pathway. They're all potent. You just got to read through them. And sometimes I put the little red lines, the little highlights under there. That's just parts that I think are substantial. But I do understand that other people are like, well, there was something else more substantial. And that's why it's great that everyone gets to look over those particular documents, because you may see something that I don't. I'm not all knowing. I'm not arrogant whatsoever. I don't proclaim to know everything or can catch everything. So I like that. I like that other people are seeing things. All right. So now let's go here to a little bit of Bitcoin news. All right. Hope you're all having a fantastic day out there. So now I told people Bitcoin is going to take off. They're playing chess right now. They're playing chess. In my humble opinion, on a very amateur level for now. I don't know what comes tomorrow or in the future. So they bring down the price of Bitcoin, knowing that a positive catalyst is going to come out, a very positive catalyst, but it's drowned out by Bitcoin sort of, going down a little bit. That brings down people's morale. Psychologically speaking, a lot of people are very, very much affected when the prices go up and go down, etc. I can understand that. But if they hold firm, if they have a strong will, they'll see the game that's being played. This is manufactured, because all the positive catalysts remain and the negatives are not strong enough to keep it down, which means what? Inexorably, Bitcoin's price will skyrocket once more. Not financial advice, just my humble opinion. So let's just, before I read this article, let's just take a look at Bitcoin's current price, because I can't trust the articles. They don't update all the time. Bitcoin's current price. Ooh, why did it autocorrect? Current price, not currency price. Let's see what Google says. So right now, Bitcoin is $99,847.54. Okay, let's go back to that article now. Let's see what they're talking about. So Bitcoin comes to, let me put my hand up so I know where the chapter is. Bitcoin comes to central bank balance sheet. A central bank. There we go, folks. The banks dipping their toes in Bitcoin outright. Visible. Here we go. If that's not bullish, it's not just about this one bank doing it. It's about a beginning, a vision of where Bitcoin is going. We had a lot of professionals already speak about banks being interested in Bitcoin, and this is a beginning, is it not? Here we go. It says this. The Czech National Bank, CNB, has purchased approximately $1 million in Bitcoin. And I knew, listen, these financial institutions can't pass up this free capital that's about to, pop off, for lack of a better word, that's about to occur. For a while, in my humble opinion, Bitcoin is about to be easy money for just a short while, not forever. And it's not financial advice. This doesn't mean for you to do anything. I have no interest in making other people do anything. Just my humble opinion. It's going to be easy money for a while. They know that. They know that's why there's all this positioning. That's why the price can't just continuously go up now. Although there will be explosions, it can't. They got to bring it down a little bit. Dip that bait in the water. Move it around a little bit. Make it shiny. Let some more of the fish, small, medium-sized businesses, other asset managers, other banks, let some of the fish bite the bait a little bit more. That's what they're doing. But let's continue on. So $1 million Bitcoin, approximately, that's what they purchased, and other digital assets. Why don't you list what other digital assets did they acquire? Why are you holding back that information? See, that's suspicious. Let's continue on. So it says, and other digital assets to create a test portfolio. Marking. So they went 1 million in for a test portfolio? That's interesting. Okay. Marking the first time a central bank has added Bitcoin to its balance sheet. The goal is to gain practical experience with digital assets. I beg your finest pardon. And evaluate their potential role in diversifying reserves, though the assets are held separately from the country's foreign exchange reserves. Well, so now we understand why you're considering it technically a test portfolio. All right, so you can do just that, separate it from everything else. All right, we'll see how that works out. It says purpose of the purchase, the investment is for a pilot program to test decentralized digital assets and evaluate their potential role in diversifying reserves. My apologies. I don't know why I just got tongue tied like that. It happens sometimes. Sometimes it does. CMB will gain practical experience. You thought I was going somewhere else with that? It was like, I thought you were going to do a little bit more there. Make me a little entertainment. Sometimes I have something, sometimes I don't. A lot of stuff that I do, if people enjoy it, it literally is just spontaneous. Even the catchphrases. The catchphrases I just came up with spontaneous. I just said it one day, and then I was like, wait, that kind of felt good. I said it again, and then the people early in the channel, people liked it, and I just kept on saying them. Like, let's get to the money. Like, that was just spontaneous. I had a lot of them back then. I only kept a few. So now let's go here. Let's continue. So the CMB will gain practical experience in managing digital assets and will test related processes like trading, auditing, and settlement. Portfolio composition, $1 million test portfolio includes Bitcoin, a US dollar-backed stablecoin, and a tokenized deposit. Okay, at least there's a little bit more clarity. I appreciate that. This is coming from Google. Google has been providing article information. Holy smokes, Google. I'm doing a lot. I'm not mad at it. The source is their source is Czech National Bank. So, okay, so Google, my word, Google is going directly to the bank's websites and creating his own article. What? All right. Times are changing, folks. Hey, I just typed it into Google, a random Google search, like at the top of the top bar on the computer. I just typed in the name of the article, looked it up, and this is what popped up. The CMB also has learned. I'm learning. There's a lot of new stuff going on with these technologies. I don't know everything. The CMB has also, so I might be a little bit surprised from time to time, has also launched an internal innovation hub called the, quote, CNB Lab, unquote, to test emerging technologies like blockchain and AI. All right, I don't need to know all of that. I'm satisfied with the fact that they're getting in deep. Some central bank is, and this shows that other central banks will also be getting into Bitcoin. And it's not just central banks. A lot of banks outright are going to be dealing with Bitcoin, offering it to their customers. Everything that is DLT, they're going to offer to the customers. Bitcoin, XRP, staking, delegation, lending. They want it all, folks. Why not? And why would they not? You can give me a logical reason why the banks who want to make a profit off of anything that's given to them, they treat your deposits, they treat your accounts as if it were their own. And then when you come for your money, you want to get over 100,000 out, 200,000 out. They're going to ask you, hey, what do you need this for? You're asking me why I need my own money? It's mine. Simply render it unto me, sir. I like to say that. I could have just said, simply give me my money. That's not interesting to me. I don't like to do boring stuff. I don't like to speak in a boring way to myself. Speak to yourself. I mean, I don't like to speak that way myself. All right, so I like a challenge. I like things to be fun, new, challenging. I like that, It's just me. I'm not saying you have to. So now that you have the information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.